you weaken the center pieces of your posture, your glutes and your hamstrings. So when you're standing, these muscles are weak. They're not doing their work anymore. So you're just unsupported. So you're going to expend a lot more energy trying to fix that, to stabilize yourself. And so what ends up happening is that maybe you'll start developing knee pain or another weird pain because your legs aren't doing their work. And also, if you're sitting, you're probably doing something, driving, typing, your arms are forward, right? Your head is closer to the screen. So it just pulls everything forward. And what ends up happening is that the muscles in your back lengthen, they get weak. So, all the rotator cuff, the scapular muscles, even the lats, and then the front gets sort of tight and stronger. It's not really strong, but because they're always forward, it creates a lot of tension here. So it just pulls everything forward, including your head. And then it perpetuates the cycle of low back pain or just poor lower body performance.
And then especially if you're a dude and you work out chest 3 times a week, that's going to make it even worse. And you're going to be rolled forward and your back is going to be hunched. And combine that with being on your phone for who knows how long a day, that's just a bad scenario. So if somebody does have this sort of shoulders rolled forward, hunched posture, either from sitting, being on your phone all day, what can we do about that?
Well, actually, there's a lot of different things to address. First, I would look at the state of their shoulder blades, their shoulder blade muscles, like the rotator cuff. I find that a lot of people in my assessments fail to do 12 external rotation in the side lying position, so that they can't even externally rotate a 3-pound, 5-pound weight, right? So they've got no outward strength like that. So their internal rotators are strong, but their external rotators are weak. So just by addressing that, it won't fix everything, but it does a big difference on the joint. So I would try to find which muscles have been weakened by your lifestyle. And usually you'll find shoulder blade muscles, the glutes, hamstrings, and the feet.
Yeah, the feet is huge. Wow, I'm glad you brought this up. Because if usually whatever pain you have, if it's a lower body pain or even a back pain, it might be contributed back to the feet because that's where everything starts. So if you don't have a good foot position, you're going to have a bad knee position. And if you have a bad knee position, you're going to have bad hips, and bad hips is going to disalign your spine. And then it's going to make you all cattywampus. So let's talk about feet and foot positioning and what people can do to strengthen their feet. I think, would you agree that flat feet is usually what contributes most to these issues and the valgus knee cave?
Yeah, I see a lot of them. I find a lot of them in my assessments. But then it's not just flat feet. It's also, some people are towards the outside. So it's like the opposite of flat arches. And then a lot of people have what we call disharmonic feet. So the weight on the left is going to be completely different than the weight on the left. So sometimes they'll have flat feet on one and then the other one on the on the other foot. So it's just like right away you know that when their foot lands, when they walk, the left side and the right side of their bodies are not absorbing the shock the same way. And so you can kind of trace that all the way back up. But you're right, everything starts at the feet.
So this is something that I feel like is not talked about often. So if somebody's listening and they want to check to see if they have any issues with their feet, what do they look for?
Well, here's an easy way to assess, okay? Because one of the most common things I find, again, in my assessments, it's just, I like talking about what I see a lot. They've got no toe control. They can't control their toes. So if you ask them to lift both of their big toes, which is a movement controlled by a specific muscle of the lower leg, sometimes they can't even lift them independently. They have to lift everything else together. And then again, you can lift all other fours and keep your big toes down. Again, that's a different muscle, and it's a different muscle keeping your big toe down. So, and again, they can't do it. It's like, what they end up doing sometimes is like squeeze their hands or like this, trying to move their toes. And it's just because the connection with the brain is so off, or it's been numbed or disconnected, they have to move everything as one big block. So again, you know that whenever that foot lands, instead of the toes gripping the ground as they should, it's probably going all over the place and then, shifting or going into the knee or going to the hip above. So just see if you can lift both of your big toes while keeping the others down, and then keeping your big toes down, lifting all the others. That's one of the things I do in my assessments.